we got a quorum, and it's time.
Let's do
Oh
it.
yeah, do you wanna?
No, it's fine.
Okay, and I'll tell everyone in the room that, my nephew's in the hospital,
Oh,
so
I'm so sorry.
probably being diagnosed with diabetes.
Oh, Nikki, I'm
So if I
sorry.
see, like, if I stare at my phone or, that's why,
Yeah.
that's why. Yeah, I mean, he's lucky to have his uncle, but,
No.
I mean, they haven't said that it definitely is yet, but my dad can't figure out what else it would be, and he's.
But at least it's like, it's nice to have a diagnosis.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, and it just started this weekend, so, okay. So, I'll let, Christine, are you recording, or Lindsay, are you recording?
I'm gonna record.
Okay.
Thanks for reminding me.
I feel too close to this camera, I don't like.
That's why I keep doing this, Nikki.
You're so
I'm like,
big.
you want to be the
Scoot back.
computer? I'm like,
We can scoot back a little.
I have a little head, so it's
I'm like right there.
okay, doing it. Why is this so close?
Okay, there we go, that's a little bit better. No, God, it's still really big.
No,
Okay,
but you're equally big.
yeah, yeah. Are we recording?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna call the meeting of the regular meeting of the Hartland Schoolboard. We're starting at 6:08 on Tuesday, November 1st. So, take any changes or additions to the agenda by board members, or, yeah.
No need for executive session or anything.
I do not know of a need for an executive session right now.
We're gonna talk to you. Yes, I was. So yes.
Okay, so we.
Short.
Short and
You don't have to
general,
always say that, yeah.
general topic?
Employee related.
Employee related, okay. Okay, so, that'll be that. So I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of October 4th.
I wasn't here, I wasn't there for part of it, so.
Oh, so we can't vote?
I don't think we can. Christine, do you have any advice for us on
I
that?
don't think you can vote on them, you could save them for next month.
We'll table those for next month?
If Heather or Colleen shows up, then we could.
Yeah, then we'll come back.
Move it later.
Okay, so that's on the agenda for next month. Okay. We have public participation and announcements. You guys are all here to present.
Those are.
Yes,
Two of
they
us
are.
are.
Okay. And you guys are here to watch them present, support them, and drive them.
And drive them home,
Okay. Okay. And we don't have anybody online?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
So we are gonna fly today.
All right.
Okay, so we'll move into the administrative report.
Perfect, I will share my screen. I will not share it, but I'm here.
Maybe it's because it's not part.
Yeah.
Someone who's someone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But.
You should have covered that now.
Exactly.
All right, so there it is up on the top. So I'd like to start with just some fun pictures of some walk to school day. Last week, the whole school took trips to the Hartland Volunteer Fire Department. Thank you, Nikki and John, for that. It was
And
a
the rest of
blast.
the departments.
Yes.
Had not much to do with it.
It was, they had a great time. The first picture on the left is some kindergartners making some apple crisp, which was really, really fun. It was in Emily Puget's class, and they had made it all together, and when I came in, they were like packing the topping, remember the brown sugary yumminess of the topping on top of it. Oh, it was good. And I had to include that first picture from when we did an all-school assembly. It was that activity, I've seen it on like, Hungry Hungry Hippos, but like with real people in real life. It was great. It was a blast. We all had fun. Oh,
Yeah, the algebra kids.
I know.
You guys are gonna have to have your own like day.
An algebra kid activity day.
Algebra.
I did the day assembly.
Yeah.
I've heard about this happening though, so.
It's, yeah, it was a good time.
Maybe we can arrange to do
Yeah.
We could probably do that. And Tina Skihan in the middle photo put on a Starbucks. It was like this little Starbucks creation that she had in the library, and it was Starbucks. It was fantastic.
Oh, that's cool.
Absolutely fantastic.
That's awesome.
And then another walk to school day picture, because it was a great day.
Yeah.
It was a great day.
That's fantastic.
So I will now turn it over to Maddie and Catherine. So does it make sense, ladies? Would you like me to show the two that I have and then turn it over to you?
Yes,
Okay.
I guess, but I did send you the
Oh, you
presentation.
did? Okay, so why don't I just do that? I will close out of here.
So I think that'd be better.
Okay. That is perfect. Your email's up. My email's up. Let's see if I can do that. I will stop presenting.
Move quick.
And then I will. You know what's weird though? I don't have it, Maddie. Hold on, let's see.
Did you share it, or?
Yes, I did. I
Let's
shared it.
see. Oh, here it is.
Yes, I
Found
did.
it.
If not, you guys just have to act it out.
Okay, so let's present again.
We're gonna go up
Oh yeah, go for it, yeah.
Yeah.
Wherever you wanna go.
There we
We're
go.
just talking about how we don't like you guys behind us.
It's
This big circle. I know.
Yes.
Wouldn't it make sense to like turn you guys that way and then the TV's there?
Maddie,
Yeah.
Catherine, you tell me when you want me to hit next,
At
okay?
least I'll go over there.
So, we'll wait a second.
I don't like the way we're arranged today. There we go.
Okay, so newspaper improvement presentation.
You can go now. This is issue number 1. This is our very first newspaper. As you can see, there are a lot of parts that are pixelated and more difficult to read, and the formatting could definitely be better. But since it was our first paper, overall we did pretty well. We included some extra stuff like Pet of the Week and Artist of the Week, which as a class we agreed would be interesting to read about. So far we have included this in every newspaper. However, there are no articles, which is something we improved on in later issues.
Issue number 2. As you can see, this is our second newspaper. You can see some improvement in the newspaper and that more of the blank space has been used up, as you can see in some of the parts. But there is still some blank space. There is not a lot of structure to the format though, and because of that, this is what we focused on in our next issue. In this issue, you can see that lettering is in different sizes, and that you can't clearly tell the difference between like ads and different things. There's no like structure to it, and although we still need to improve, you can tell that there is some improvement from the last article in the fact that there aren't as many ads spread out throughout the newspaper.
Issue number 3, and this is the latest newspaper that we worked on. In our most recent newspaper, we have added in a lot more articles, two of which Maddie and I both wrote. This has made our newspaper seem more professional and longer, given that this issue is 3 pages long. We think it would be a good idea to continue with more articles because of how informative they are, and also because it makes the format pleasing to look at. We also included ads that are cleaner and more colorful than previous issues, and once we have a lot more compacted information, there is no empty space. A lot of it's cut off. I can't really see it.
Yeah.
A little cut off on that side.
Conclusion. It's pretty short, but so in conclusion, we have improved in many ways throughout all 3 of the issues, and have worked really well together as an 8th grade class, working on these articles from the artwork and ads to the announcements and articles. Thank you very much.
Lindsay, can you go back to the?
Absolutely. This one?
Yeah, that is just awesome.
So as you
Yeah.
can see, there are 3 articles in here. This is one that I wrote, and then here's one that Kane wrote, and this is the one that Catherine wrote.
Awesome.
And then there are more ads and art throughout the newspaper.
That's terrific.
terrific.
It's really good.
And I think we're expecting it to, like, as we work on it, it'll probably improve even more after this one.
So how are you getting your classmates to help you write stuff?
We all kind of have different jobs. So there are people that kind of like focus more on like drawing, like Aurora, she makes comics. And then there are people that do like announcements, like Pet of the Week and Artist of the Week.
And then Zoe does photography, right?
Yeah, and also some of the artwork. And then we also have like ads reminding you about different things, like a reminder to vote on November 8th, and then like the rec center Halloween party, and those are kind of all throughout the newspaper. And then we have more of the articles on the front and second page. Yes.
Awesome job, by the way.
Thank you.
Where are you, you're sending it, because I'm getting it, but where are you promoting it in the community? Is it in the library, is it on the
We
listserv?
handed it out to some classrooms,
we
I
hand,
think, or we were
like,
going to.
2 or 3 out to each class, and then we put like a bunch of them in the teacher lounge, I think, right?
And I think is there an online option as well?
Yes, there is. That comes in color.
Is it just for students, or would the?
It's for teachers and students, so kind of anyone in the school.
And community members as well.
Yeah, but
Parents,
we
community
are.
I don't know
That's
where-
the more online thing, but
Yes.
I'm not
Got it.
sure where it is online though.
I'm not sure either.
Do you know, Miss Ash, where it
I
is?
think it's attached to,
Oh, the
The-
Hartland Weekly.
The newsletter?
have I missed that?
Yeah.
I wonder if it would be, I mean, I can imagine going into Mike's store. It's all
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I could
That
too.
would be cool.
Yeah, I bet they would carry some copies. And in the library, I bet if you dropped one off at the library, they would put it with the other newspapers so people could read it.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I will keep that in mind in the next.
Yeah,
issue.
Gigi's, definitely.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys, that's really awesome. And the improvement is amazing.
Yeah.
Like over 3 weeks, that's
Yeah.
really awesome.
So Mr. Butts, in a second, you are up next. So if you want to, do you want to run through these and just tell me when
Sure.
to hit next? Okie dokie.
You wanna come
Can you
sit at a
go
table?
first?
I know, do you wanna
Right.
sit
over there?
No,
You know what, I wanna rearrange, cause I can't take it.
Is my sitting back there finally done?
I know.
Yeah. We don't have anybody on the street, so. That's never heard. Here we go.
Look at that, there we go.
It's like a
Even better. Now I have
line
no
dance.
idea what it's. I'm looking out and looking like, what do I look at? Okay, so, this first part up here, actually I'll go up here and stand. We're supposed to have on our PLP, let me get it started, our mission statements. And it's kind of interesting because Maddie actually helped us build and create some of these. And so what we did is we pretty much went on to Leader and Me, and it has been one of those, it's a learn as you go, and so it's kind of neat because I think she would agree that my motto is that we don't have to do it perfect, we just have to do it. And so we started out with everyone had their own paper that pretty much broke down these 3 different points. And so they all did their own, and then we broke into groups, and I kind of randomized them so that it wasn't just their normal groups. And then they had to go through and see out of the ones that were there, which ones that they felt were the best. And so each one had, again, 3, and I gave them all the anchor chart paper, and so they created all that. And then from there, we actually then, I took pictures of all of them, put them on a Google form, and then they had to vote on it, so that it was truly gonna be their mission statement. So on this one, and it was kind of neat because it was this group, ended up being the one that we had as our mission statement. And it gives us an opportunity to kind of, now that we have it and we've written it up and we put it up, to be able to talk about it each day. So then we're able to say, this is what we're focusing on as our group and in our advisory to make sure we make it through the day without any issues. And it was really neat. And then the words that are up at the top, you had to come up with like 3 different words that just kind of represented you. And again, we did the same process where they had to vote so that it was truly going to be their setup. It was gonna be their idea as to how the classroom would work. And it's been kind of neat, because now that we haven't done everything, we do talk about it. I know you missed that in the mornings, I guess I need to do it at lunch too. But it does give us some voice and choice, but I think the best part about it is that they did it all, you know, other than the direction and time, and it allowed them to see the process as to how we think through and how we do things. So it's kind of neat, because the last one on number 3 was actually split 33%. So 4 people voted on it on each one of those. And so we again voted on it, and we talked about it as to why it'd be better. So it was kind of neat to see that, for them again, to see that process as to how things work out versus this is my mission statement that you have to do. It was actually their that we all get to do. And so it's kind of neat on that. You can go ahead and go to the next one.
They want to tap that
I
down.
need to
Yeah,
tap,
thank
there it
you.
is.
Yeah.
Okay, so on,
Sorry,
on
go
this
ahead.
one, there we go. So on this one, it's a little bit of a few things here. This was their process working through on this pieces here, and actually the same thing over there. So this was really what we did prior to that last one for the end piece. And again, I think if anything, I enjoyed watching them develop this, because again, I told them that we had to use synergy, and I was like, that means that you can't just compromise. You have to be able to walk away saying win-win, and that everybody agrees with what you're going to go with. And so it's kind of neat to see that they did do that. So some of the groups changed what they had on their paper to put in with someone else's. So again, it was a great process of that, and again, it also helped them to start to understand leader and me a little bit more as well. All right, you can go to the next one. Again, just some more of their processing through there. Yep. Okay, so this one, because I felt I might as well give you the whole shebang of what we're doing there. This is our pilot for Great Minds. It's Eureka, or it's called, what is it, Eureka Squared. And so on here, what you'll see on this piece here is that students are, for me, once I send out the digital lesson, I can actually see what the students are doing. So instead of me walking around to each student throughout their classroom to try to see what work they're doing, they can actually put in their work on there, they can click submit, and I can see what it is right there. And then whether the answer is correct or not, I can actually pull it up so that everybody can see it. So we can discuss that, and we can talk about what is the misconception that happened there, or was everybody doing it correct, and we can move forward. So that's been a huge asset. And then the neat part is that over here, on a lot of those, it'll also pull up and show you exactly what they wrote, and they're like, here's my response. And then the best part about that for me is that since I have about a 4-year age gap, or a level of education in 7th grade, this allows that struggling learner to see what the answer is in the process that someone else did is a little bit more advanced, and then to be able to create it and make it their own. So it actually allows them to have differentiation happen without me going over and saying, okay, I see you're struggling with this, what do I do? They can actually look at that and see it and then process it, and I always tell them you can't write what someone else wrote, so then it allows them to have to put it into their own words. And so it's been kind of neat to see that. And then this last one here was just kind of the, did I put on that one? Oh yeah. And that's just another piece of it that shows where I can set up the different days and everything. So if I wanted to put out, and this was kind of neat, last week I had a lot of students missing. So I was able to send out quizzes and assessments, have the start and end time, and do all of that online. And so several of the students took advantage of that. So when they came back to school, they didn't miss any homework. They were actually ahead of the rest of the students. So it was kind of neat to see that too. Okay, go to the next slide. All right. And so this one was Kakuma. And this was a great interactive lesson that we had, which again is part of this pilot program, where one of the comments was, are we sure that it's going to be have enough manipulatives in it? Is it something that's hands-on? Is it something for all learners? Because if any of you know anything about Eureka, last year it was very word intensive. It was almost like just a little bit rung lower than college level material of how it was presented. This one's not that way. It's designed to where almost every other day there's a hands-on activity, and so this was the lesson. I quickly went over how to add integers, and then I allowed them to put it all together. And so it was really neat because the students, as they went through and they created all of their own, and so this is the one that they worked through that I kind of showed them how to do it, and then they got a blank one. And they had to create all their own numbers, they had to make them work, and the way this works is that you have to find 2 numbers that add up to be the third. So for this one, for example, if I add the -7 plus 4, I get -3. and then that goes down there. And you do that for each one, and then you end up down here with the final answer. The best part of that lesson was that some of the students were rushing through it. They're like, I got this, that's so great. And then they handed it to their neighbor to work on, and they said, hey, this doesn't work. And so they had to go back, and they had to had to figure it out, and with just very little guidance, to again point out, well, if it doesn't work here, then maybe we need to go back to this one, so that you have the right numbers to work for a final answer. And it allowed them to process and problem solve. And again, it was one where it took literally the whole class time for them to go through it, but it was one of those where I had 100% engagement. Everybody was excited because everybody was able to work at it at their level, and I did a good job of, kind of marrying up the students so that even if they were a struggling student, they were with somebody who would be proficient and be able to work with them on it. So it was a neat way to do that. But again, this is just part of that pilot program. All right, let me get the next one. And on here, this is another example of just some of the things that are in there. This one actually dealt with, we were dealing with scale factor. So we had this gigantic bike, and then we had a mini bike. And it was like the smallest bike ever, which right now the record was it's about 5 inches tall. It was the smallest bike that this guy made. And so we were working on scale factor, and they got an opportunity to go up and do that. I think for the plug for teachers, the benefit of it is that I didn't have to go out and try to create all of this. I just had to pull it up, read over the lesson, practice it, and be prepared. The students did the rest of the work. And then this was my 8th grade group that they actually had flashcards, so for one day they got to play war. And so they were literally playing war, but it was with, on this one it was with integers, and so again, it was at a higher level, but it was one where they had to work through that part of it in order to find out what to do. It wasn't just a number, they had to actually do some work on it. So again, nothing I had to do other than cut up the papers and put it out there, so it was nice for that. Go to the next one. So on here, this is the IDL projects that are happening in my classroom.
Can I go back to the math
yeah,
one?
go back.
I think you hinted on this, but I know when we started to pilot, my hope, I guess I'll just tell you what I hoped, and you can tell me what you think of my hope. When we started to pilot, I was really hoping that switching from Eureka to Eureka Squared would be hopefully easy on the teachers, because it has all the same ideas of Eureka, but just I think a better presentation for the students, and I guess I'll let you.
It does. So, okay, so the difference, especially for me coming in a few years ago and getting involved in this, was that the things were there, meaning that I had the worksheets, but I didn't have like the how-to. And so with this, it's more of not only do I have the how to teach the lesson, there's UDLs in there that say like, hey, how do I differentiate? Again, it's not me sitting there and running through it with my brain on how do I differentiate for the student. It actually gives you tabs to say, this is how you should differentiate for this. Here's questions you should ask to get it going. So I found that if anything, there's a lot of information in different places. So I think the challenge for most teachers would be understanding where it's at and getting that piece. I enjoy technology, so I'm probably a little bit further savvy on the technical side. But it's funny because Michelle and I one day found that the answer for it was actually inside the textbook. That I was like, I didn't use that one, so I had to go back and pull that up because I'm doing everything here. And so there's pieces like that where once we found that, oh, over here it says one thing, but to help us again as a teacher, it's still the same source. But the majority of stuff is literally online for us, and I think that's been the best part for me. When I initially started to do it, I actually created a slideshow until I realized that there was already a slideshow. So I don't have to create a slideshow. It's there, but I did. I pulled out everything. I had, I had my objectives. I had my standards. I had all this put in there, and then I was like, oh, it's already here. I don't have to do that. So again, when I'm looking at the work that I had to do last year as compared to this year, it's not there. There's a huge difference. It's much easier for me because the majority of it's there. I think if anything, and I'm seeing, as I've been seeing and talking with other teachers, is that they're finally getting over the hump of understanding where all the material is and understanding that piece. But once that's down, it's been much easier to understand. It's been easier to differentiate from. I think if anything, like the one thing that I wish they'd have would be like a bank that I could go to if I wanted to have a student who was struggling with integers, and I should be able to pull up there. And I think that would be the only thing that I would like, is that if there was another way to reteach it, that's not present. But we do have access for all grade levels, which does make it nice because I can work from at different grade levels with students. And I do actually do that at the end of the school day. And I can actually pull up lessons right there. Everything's there that I need. And again, I can work with the students, the ones that want to do it online. I can send it to them. So again, that's another perk that I didn't have from last year. So, yep.
2 questions. One of the positives that we heard was the language, the vocabulary was going to be easier for kids. Eureka was language heavy, right? So I'm curious if you're noticing that. And then it does embed practices of UDL, which is great. Are there more interactive, hands-on, game, authentic experiences for kids built in?
Yes, yeah, like I said, so just on these, there's 1, 2, and then the other one would have been the third. Those were just, I would say, almost, well, today we did one again where the kids had to, should have brought it, they did a number line, and then they had to, we're again still dealing with adding integers in 7th grade, so they had to show that like if it was -4 plus -3, well, how else could we write that? Well, we could write it as -4 minus 3. And so they then had to take those 2 things, once they found that those were the same answer, and then partner that up with a number line that showed how that worked. And so again, there was that full-on engagement. And honestly, for me at least, I'd say it's about every 3rd lesson where it's designed like that for them to be engaged. Are you seeing that in yours or not at all?
No. So I was just saying to Donna, as you were sharing like this game and the war game, I'm not seeing that in 5th grade.
Okay.
But we're only, we're not finished with module 1 yet, so it could be, it's coming. Maybe the first module's a little less.
Were there any in module 1?
There were a few, like the scale
Not as
factor
many
one
as
was
in
in
this
module
one.
1,
So
yeah.
maybe it's-
Yeah, not
maybe
as
it's
many.
ag.
I do know that, what was it, what I found that in order for me to find a lot of this stuff was that over where it says like the teacher's part, like the things for you to do at the beginning, the material, that's where you'll find the hands-on stuff. And it's after like that 1st or 2nd page, as you scroll down, it'll say like, the things for you to get and the things the student needs.
Yeah.
And then they'll have that, and then again, it's one of those that you gotta kind of dig to, well, you go to resources, and it should be there.
Yeah.
And if it's not, it might be part of that, the first module
It
might
could
not
be.
be.
It
I
could be,
think-
it's coming. I hope,
Yeah.
because some of this stuff sounds great.
Yeah. And that was the thing, I think universally, when talking with Patty, was that everybody's module 1 was tough. And part of it is because a lot of what we were gonna do throughout the year, that's like, let's set the foundation for you, and we're gonna go back to it. So a lot of the stuff, several students were like, oh, we didn't get as far as I wanted to, I didn't get a strong grasp on proportions. Don't worry, in about a month, we're gonna go back over it again. So it's okay, because it's gonna be reiterated. And I think that, again, that was kind of the design last year as well with Eureka, and they really stuck with that, is that a lot of the teachers, throughout the SU said that that first module was the hardest to get through. And I would assume that that's why, is that it's all about looping back into it. The other perk that I think that I do like is the fluency piece at the beginning. We don't have to come up with a, like a warm-up, it's there. But then there's also in their practice, the last 5 to 6 questions are spiraled work. So again, I'm not having to go back to what standards did we cover a month ago, or a year ago did they cover, or 2 years ago. It's spiraled in there, so the students are getting access, and is it that way for yours? Well, it is in 7th and 8th grade, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we have a second book
Oh,
that has like reteaching pages and the remember section, but it's in a
well,
completely
maybe that's why
separate
we
book.
don't have the extra
Right.
thing, is that it's spiraled
I
in
would
there.
rather it
Yeah.
added on to each lesson.
Because that's the way it is on ours, and it was that way day 1, is that last, like, the last 5 questions, and it
Yeah.
even says review on it, is all the stuff that they should already know. And so that's kind of neat, because then it gives us an opportunity to see, like, adding fractions, for example, even though that wasn't one of our standards, it was there. So then it gives me a chance to know, oh, these are the students I need to work with on it. So, why don't they come over and see what else you
I
have
know,
on
it's
yours? 'Cause,
interesting
oh
to
my
hear
gosh.
some of the differences between
Yeah.
the higher.
Can I ask-
Well, you get Spanish on yours, I don't get Spanish on mine.
That's true, that's true. I'm just wondering what sort of supports, like, we're having this conversation, like,
Yeah.
what sort of supports are teachers getting for all of this?
Her and
This is
I,
a pilot.
each other.
Yeah, I know
and-
that, but
We
like,
meet-
Yeah,
we
we're
meet
literally
monthly.
learning.
Yeah, okay.
We meet monthly.
With Patty.
With Patty, and Patty also is that outlet for that. I don't, and I don't know if we have another chance of having somebody from Eureka Squared to come out and like work with us again, because I think if anything, it's just that knowing where the stuff is and knowing where to look and how to use it. Not to mention just even as we're talking, the differences in the grade levels and how it's set up and why is it set up that way.
We also have grade level meetings, or
Pod level.
multi-grade level. Obviously, we're not in the same
Yeah.
grade level, because I haven't heard some of this before. But, so that's once a month as well, I think, but that's kind of just getting started. Well, thank you.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so IDL projects, when we started out at the beginning of the year, this was actually a Lego project that one of our students that's actually going to be transitioning from here put together. We were eventually going to get to the scale factor piece, but you know, again, it was one where I wanted to meet students where they're at. So some of the other things that were happening, and I should have Maddie explain about the psychology in children, but we also do Dungeons and Dragons. So I had a group that was working on that, which has been kind of interesting because it's actually growing, and it's, I think the comments that I've heard from teachers is that they've been amazed on how much problem-solving skills the kids are working on, and they're like, they're not even battling yet. They're working on literally like communication stuff. And I was like, how cool is that? So there's that. The psychology in children, what exactly are you guys doing on that?
So, is it okay if I come on?
Come on.
Yes.
It's just so neat that it happened to work out that you were here because she's part of that project.
So, me and Cassie, we've conducted research through books, articles, different like letters from like psychology studies, and we've made surveys for the entire school. They're like a little bit different for each survey, so that it's more fit for each kind of pod. And so we've sent all these surveys, so we have questions that we've kind of brought from the research that we've done, and we've collected data from the surveys and the answers that we've gotten back. We still need actually a couple more, but then we want to host a gala actually to fundraise money for for more stuff to help kids with so that they're less anxious or like stressed out and stuff. And because based on the stuff that we've gotten through all of the grades, we've had some alarming results from the surveys, and we think that we really need to do something about it. And at this gala, we want to fundraise money to help with
Being able to provide those services to those students.
Yeah.
One of the big questions that Cassie came with was she didn't feel that students were being diagnosed or treated appropriately based upon their age. And so oftentimes negative behavior was being written as that when it was more of an anxiety or stress disorder that might be happening that people just aren't looking at because of their age. And so the ultimate goal is for them to actually have only students speak. I asked, well, would you like a guest speaker? And she said, and Cassie said, yes, they'll all be students. So they would like to only have students during this event and be able to use those funds then back into the school to truly work with those students.
And we'd also like to present kind of what we've gathered from the surveys to all the teachers and parents even, on what we can do as a community to help kids feel less anxious or stressed out when they're at school and at home, and have a better learning environment.
So they were doing that, and at one point they were doing that in one corner of the room. Other kids were working on Legos. Another group was working on Dungeons and Dragons, and one of the other students on there was, besides doing he's working on a Chromebook charging station, which right now we're working on getting the material for it, because our Chromebooks are always everywhere, or the students take them home, they never charge them, and so we were like, why not actually build one? So he's working on that. And then, what was else? There was one other thing that was happening. I think that was all of them. I know there was something else that was also transpiring there.
There's the
We have the
outdoor
outdoor,
one.
there it is. So the other teachers were working on, so that was all the stuff happening in my room, because we wanted to give voice and choice. So we kind of really ran away from the mindset of how we had IDEAL last year, and we really wanted voice and choice for the students. So I took all the kids that had the other stuff, And so that's why there seems like a lot there. The other teachers were working on creating an outdoor classroom, which students for the past few years that I've worked here yearned and said, this is crazy. We get to 7th and 8th grade and we don't get to go outside anymore. What happened? It's kind of like a punishment. So we have an area, and they've been working on that, and they've been really squaring it away so that there's an actual area for 7th and 8th graders to go to. And then I think really our best one out of all of this, besides what they're working on, because it's great chatting with them on it. I just love the ideas. It's years ahead of where it should be, which is amazing, is our school store. And so again, the thought process is, maybe we really need to focus in on the students that do the right thing day after day. And they never get a moment of, wow, you did a great job, other than us saying real quick, wow, good job, and then they're out the door. And so we started giving them money for just coming into classrooms, sitting down, being prepared, and doing the right things. And then the benefit of that is that the school, or the students that are in the school store, they have to run all of it. So they put together what items were to be sold there. They put together a grant to be able to get money to be able to buy the products that go into there. And then I think there was one other piece. Was there anything else that I was missing out of that?
There's logistics. Which
Logistics.
is what me, Zoe and I are.
So then, do you want to talk about that piece?
Uh,
She's like, no.
There's not
So-
that much that I'm gonna say, but
Yeah.
Zoe and I are working in logistics, and so we figured out like the location, what we would use to, like, we'd find like a cart or whatever we would use to sell the items, and we are not really running it, but we're the ones like physically selling the items, and so far it's been on Mondays and Fridays, but it's been pretty successful, and it's really cool.
Is the school store open for everyone, or is this just for some?
Well,
It's
so
just 7th and 8th.
just
for
7th and
now.
8th for now. We had, again, we have to look at the bigger picture. Some teachers might feel that as this is another duty that I have to do in addition to all the other things. And I always feel bad because I always take my money home and then I leave it at home. So I'm like, sorry guys, I'll get you later. But I'm awful at that. I'm like, this is what I get. Yep.
I think another too, like there's a lot of fidgets at the school store, and
Mm.
I think there's like a lot of kids kind of relating to the psychology in children. It's like, I think for a lot of kids that get stressed out by schoolwork or like need to fidget with something while they're working to focus, I think that helps them a lot, and yeah.
And I would agree. I've seen several of the students that's what they spent their money on, was a fidget, so that they had something to do in class. And so our ultimate goal is really to be able to not only just reward those positive behaviors, but to allow students to see that this is what we're looking for, this is our expectation, and to try to see if we can hit those behavior issues on the front end versus on the back, which oftentimes is where we're at, is trying to fix things versus why don't we take care of it before it's broken. Okay. And I think there was, and then this was, now you're gonna have to remind me, what was it?
Gym kit. It's gym kit.
Gym kit. So this is one where the students taught me about, and you can probably go to the next one after that. Gym kit is actually, yeah. So have any of you ever heard of Among Us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of like Among Us with you have different things you have to do. You have to go through and you're like planting seeds, and so you have to work to do that, or you have to do some type of task in order to get the money to do that. And then there's different areas where, like down here on the bottom left, where you can just sit and you can earn money or energy just solving problems. And it goes for all different types of subjects. We did it for math course, and we did it as teams. Our team lost. I don't know what happened on that one.
You also don't even have, like, a lot of kids I've noticed, or at least like some of my friends, they've done it like outside of school too for things they enjoy. Like Lainey and Nick, they've done hockey ones before. And it's even a different setup, so it's not like farming, it's like an ice rink or something. And
So-
it's really cool.
Yeah, so it definitely gave voice and choice to the students. Instead of saying, all right, we're gonna do a Kahoot, they said, why can't we do this? And it was kind of neat, because on that one, you could match up as teams, so you could have one group of students working on the math problems, the other one's going out and doing the tasks, and so it's kind of neat to see that, and to give just again, another option for students to have on how they learn, which for me was like, wow, here's something you actually enjoy, let's do that. All right. Okay, and then this was our, this one was kind of funny, I'll let them do it their way. So this was our door for Halloween, and it was the anti-door. It says, do not do drugs. And then they were ecstatic about it, but it was kind of interesting because Miss Hatch, one of them said, she wouldn't let me put the stool on the door. And I said, it's your door. And so they truly put it together, and again, it was kind of funny
You can even
because
see this
I know.
Yeah.
Because they were so happy to do it their way. And I think the best part about it was that on the paper, it said, this is the scary store because it has math on it. And so there's a calculator on there and a ruler and stuff, and I was like, oh my goodness. But again, I looked at what is the buy-in and how do I want to do it to where everybody's participating, and it was to allow them to do it their way. So, and I think was
that's
that
it, Mr. Butts. Yep.
Yep, and that's it.
Can I ask,
Yep.
for those of us who judged the doors,
Yeah.
who were the winners? Who ended up winning?
Oh,
Yes.
Miss Fusco.
Her class.
Miss Fusco went for our
Which
group.
one is,
Which one
was
was
She
that?
was on, she
Or at least
loved
that's
the
in
spiders.
The spiders, those
Yes,
were cute.
yeah, yeah.
Spiders, a bunch
Yeah.
of spider, like, and the spider webs in the
Yeah.
graveyard things.
Yeah, that was
I don't know
cute.
about the other group.
It was Miss Fusco, Mrs. McCarthy in 3rd grade, and Miss Smith in TK.
Okay, so what was Miss McCarthy's door?
Hers was the one that had all those
Trees.
little light up candles. leading
Oh,
to
yeah,
it.
leading to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was cute.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And then TK was?
TK.
Was that like
Was it
every
celebrate
kid did
or
a
is
little
it-
drawing or something?
Yeah.
Or the
Yeah.
pumpkins.
Pumpkins.
The pumpkins.
And they'd practice making the letters for their name.
Yes.
And then they put their letters on the name. So it was truly like student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was really cool.
Lots of fun.
Did they have their pizza already?
I wanted to follow up with the board after Jamie came last month. So she got back to me, and at this point, her estimate on repairing those instruments that she talked about last month is about $2,500. So I just wanted to let you know that that's what it is. And then the next part, I'm gonna let Alina take from here. We've got a few slides on social emotional learning, what we do in the proactive way, and how we, try to utilize all the supports that we can in helping all of our kiddos.
So, since our last board meeting, we went and spoke with our counselors as well as our SEI teachers, right? And they put something together for you for our primary grades. This is from Laura Whalen. These are some of the things that she works on with her students as she goes into classrooms. And she also is pulling small groups for lunch bunches, and she also is working individually with students. Whether they're brought up through the MTSS process, whether they're brought up for other reasons, or if she's just doing check-ins with students. And she definitely is going over feelings and how to identify, how to express those feelings appropriate per grade level. Here's all the different topics. I'm not going to read all of them, but here are the topics that they're going to be learning about throughout the year, depending on which grade level, and it does grow as they get older. I'll give you a minute. And I do like how everything builds upon itself with her lessons.
You get what you get, you don't throw a fit.
Right?
Favorite.
And then when I was speaking with Ms. McDermott, and, I'm sorry, Laura Whalen does work with Lacey Tancredi, and Ms. McDermott works with Mr. Sturgeon when she goes in, but she also does a lot of similar things that Ms. Whalen does. She pulls lunch groups, she pulls individual students depending on different needs, and then during their SEL lessons, they're really working on the round circles of communication and what it is that students are expressing their needs, their wants, they're doing surveys with their students and communicating that with teachers about how students are feeling, as well as all the lessons that go into it. They're hitting, HHP, they're talking about expectations, rules, futures, and how it all fits into their wellness and health. And then here's just some more for 6th, 7th, and 8th. And then we are going to get into, and I'm going to actually read from the slides that Karina and Alicia provided.
I have so quick, so is like sex ed and things like that covered in health? That's at 6th, 7th, 8th? I didn't see that as a bullet going down of when those things are starting to be introduced.
It typically has been.
We learned about it last year in 7th grade. We had like a 3-week lesson on it. And it was later in the year, and so I think we'll have that again this year.
Coming at a later point.
Yeah.
And don't they do in either 5th grade or 6th grade, they do a sort of changing bodies, unit too, right?
Yeah. It usually comes later.
My memory is that's like 5th grade or?
Fifth grade.
Yeah, I think like around then you do like kind of on your own, like kind of like gender, like and then last year we learned about the opposite sex kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Good.
We are huge into positive breaks this year. We have a few different locations. One of the locations is right up here in front, and we have an area where a pair or a teacher can bring a student who can do an independent activity or a real small group activity with Legos, with small items, just taking a break from everything for a positive reason or just a break. And then we also, we're gonna get right into our SEI stuff, social emotional interventionists. What their main goal is, I'm going to read straight from the slides here. Often when working with students, we try to keep them in the classroom as much as possible, so we try to use push-in when possible. Social skills groups and lunch groups normally start in November and support small group learning. These groups are designed based on the need and the time and work to develop lagging skills. Students who might need more support can be put on an individualized support plan designed to focus on their specific lagging skills. Students working with SEIs will also introduce different coping strategies to students, things like breathing techniques and the use of sensory and gross motor activities to help regulate.
How are the interventionists overlapping or working with We Are Hope? Because it seems like kids are doing We Are Hope and working with their interventionists all should be kind of.
We Are Hope is very specific. I mean, we're only looking at 6 to 8 weeks of really intensive coaching. It's not even counseling, it's coaching. They're providing the skills to the students, they're working through things, they're with students almost 5 days a week. Some students are on adjusted plans where they're 3 days a week.
Yeah,
but most
my
are
son
5.
went through the program, but it was more like it seems like sometimes the team of adults that are working with that student aren't necessarily getting that full, like the SEIs aren't necessarily talking with the We Are Hope folks of saying what's happening within those things all the
This
time.
year they are.
Yeah.
So We Are Hope works really closely with me. They're sending out weekly notices to teachers as well as our SEI, so that way if they're building anything into their coaching,
Yeah.
we're also using that with their break systems, we're implementing that in their behavior plans, we're adding all of those types of skills, so that way we're all having the communication together.
Cool, that's good.
So that's been my goal this year, is making sure that the communication is going back and forth and we're implementing the same things and there's not the confusion. Let me go to the next slide. I'm just reading from what Alicia wrote, I thought it was great. Developing a space that allows students to escape sensory overload is very important. Currently, we have a beanbag and fun lights that change color. We are hoping to start using a diffuser, as smell is heavily linked to emotions and memory. This can help students when they are not able to use words or are highly escalated to regulate and feel calm. So this is their space that they use quite a bit. And there's a place to work as well as a place to relax. The Slate Forward area is where we host our positive breaks, do check-ins, and sometimes hold lunch groups. This is timed break where we try to provide a win-lose game choices and sensory choices as well. This break is a great opportunity to connect with our students. It is a break for them, and they are in charge. They get to choose what table they want to sit at. They also choose their activity. They also choose the conversation. It is time where we get to talk about what's on their mind before transitioning back. We talk about what they'll be doing when they get back, reading the room, and taking deep breaths before entering. So I've noticed that the games are constantly changing on the tables, and if a student doesn't need a sit-down break, then sometimes if the gym is open, they'll play basketball with the students, they'll take a walk, or there's also a trampoline for some of our students that need that just big movement, so they utilize that as well. So this is not the only positive break, but we use this just for positive breaks. Sensory calming breaks are used to help students regulate and get back on track to be able to join their class again. These are great for getting kids sensory input and output that they might not be getting in other settings. Sensory-based activities can help calm and regulate the brain. So they have all kinds of different things for students in their personal space as well as out that is easily accessible for students.
And then that's it for that part.
Thank you. Can I?
Thank you. Yep.
Yes, thanks. I got a question about, how many students are using, like, how often are students getting positive breaks or like calming breaks, like?
It depends on the student. Some students, we have it put into their plan. A teacher will have a walkie and say, so-and-so is, using initials, is on their 10-minute positive break or their 5-minute positive break. So we set a timer, the student meets with myself or one of the SEIs, and we do the positive break with them. We have quite a few students that's in their plan. Other students that, when we're doing push-ins and they're doing really great, then we'll go ahead and check in with the teacher to make sure it's the proper time. They'll get pulled out for a quick positive break and put in. Karina's so good at this, so is Alicia. They'll walk into a class to do check-ins and they'll see a student starting to get a little frustrated, dysregulated, and they'll check in with the teacher, and before that student has a time to escalate, they'll pull them out and do a talking regulatory type of break, not necessarily a fun one, just to get the student back in a place that they can go and learn. And then they'll go into the classroom, do a push-in, and help the student and guide them. So I think they're both phenomenal at really going in and reading the room and helping students. So that way we're not pulling students out so much, that they're more in the classroom. And that has been my big push, their big push this year. That was we want kids in the classroom. How can you help support us? And I've supported it 100%. I think it's awesome how they're working with the students.
Do the kids ever ask for the positive breaks? I mean, can they say, like, I feel like I need one right now,
And that's in some of their plans as well.
Yeah.
That they have to learn how to communicate. So it's first, they're given certain times of day, and then some students are given cards where they have to turn in their card for a positive break, and then it's turned into, I can vocalize. So depending on their age and things like that, we're trying to get students to advocate for themselves.
Great.
Next is just some upcoming events. We are doing a relocation drill that we'll have some more information in the Wildcat Weekly on the 10th. So it's the morning of the early release, where it'll essentially be everyone here relocating to, if we ever needed to leave to an alternative location that was not the school for whatever the reason may be, it's Damon Hall and the rec. And so we've got that organized with the town, and so that's what we're doing. Yes, Maddie?
Sorry, I have one question.
Yeah,
Is
go
this
for it.
going to be like when algebra students are at Windsor?
We'll be back, oh gosh, because it starts at about 8:30, I know.
We
We could
already
always
have a game plan, they're gonna hang out here, one of us is gonna stay back, because they'll be here at 9.
You'll be there, that,
So,
or
yeah.
we could always talk to the algebra teacher and
Yeah.
maybe not head that day or something like that.
Because that day we only have like 30 minutes of class and
Yeah.
then
So it
we'll
might be
get back.
better to just.
It might just be better to just stay here and just do it here and not make the transition.
Thanks, Maddie, I'll get a hold of Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Buckles.
Parents are gonna need a lot of reminders.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, my intention is to
say it.
I'll put it in the Wildcat Weekly, but I'll also have a robocall go out the day before
Yes.
to remind everyone that that's happening.
That would be good.
Yep, we can do that.
And will we pick up, will kids be picked up at the alternate location, or
No,
they'll come back?
They'll
Okay.
come back here, yep, so it'll, drop off will be the same in the morning, and, because it's an early release day, the pickup from here will still be the same, it'll just be around 8:30. We'll do the relocation and then come on right back for the rest of the early release day. And then the early release is that same day, the 10th, and then we have conferences, the 10th and the 11th.
So you asked, like, one of the reasons that we would do that, we're right next to the interstate, and we've, in the last 25 years, we've evacuated all of North Hartland, for an interstate, like some kind of tanker car. I think there was also a rail incident once, and I honestly feel like if there's that's the most likely situation. It's just some kind of accident and just getting everybody safe and away from whatever is being transported down the highway.
Yep. It's good just to practice it.
Yeah, it's good just to
Yeah.
practice it, yeah.
And then most.
It wasn't until you mentioned that, I was like, we are right next to the interstate.
Yeah, yeah, and actually,
Everything.
Christine and I, and a couple of the other administrators in the SU tomorrow are heading to a safety conference in Burlington.
The governor's safety conference.
Oh.
400 people are headed.
We have to make sure.
Wow.
And it's free for us to go, we don't have to pay, so.
So are the kids transported with buses or they all walk over there?
They'll walk.
Hope for good weather.
Yeah, that's our hope, right? Good weather.
70 degrees, that's right.
Yeah, like the last 2 weeks.
I know, wouldn't that be nice?
All right, I'm next and I'm gonna be quick. My report is linked, so you can certainly access it. I'm just gonna highlight the survey that went out to staff at the beginning of the year, which is around direction, alignment, commitment, which is what you needed to move a system forward. You've gotta have direction and vision. You've gotta have the groups that are doing the work aligned. They don't have to be doing the same work, but it all has to be moving towards the goals. And there needs to be commitment. So we surveyed the staff. We did, we showed the video that we made last spring that we showed at the community forum to the staff, because really, even though we've been in this pandemic and, you know, stress mode for the last 2.5 years, we have made great progress towards our goals. So we showed them the film, and then we did the survey, and really the results were pretty good in direction. We know where we're headed, we know what we want for our kids, and the commitment is there. We have amazing teachers who love the kids, love what they do, and even when it gets hard, they're still here, and they're hopeful, and they're doing the work. Our alignment was where we saw we needed to do the most work. And so some of the things that we're putting in place, to work on alignment are differentiated professional development. It's making sure people are getting what they need, and it's not the same, because the same doesn't meet all the needs, and they're having some choice in that. Our middle level model meetings, Mr. Butts leads that work. We're trying to get that model, and we're doing a great job up and running so that our middle schoolers have more agency, voice, and choice. They're having a similar experience across the SU. So that work is underway. We've got leadership teams that staff are leading around the areas that we know are important and align with that direction. So we have a trauma team, wellness team, and the diversity, equity, and inclusion team meeting. We have our SU-wide MTSS system, which is really led by Brittany and the MTSS coordinators, and that is moving forward very effectively and efficiently. So we're really proud of that work. I meet monthly with the Faculty Advisory Council, a Support Staff Advisory Council, and just hear them and listen to them and talk about what's going well and what's not going well, and talk about what we can do about it, which has been well attended and well received. Our Leader in Me implementation, which is in different places across the SU, but it's moving forward in a positive way. Our curriculum coordination, or Mr. Butts talked about Eureka. We've got more work to do in other content areas for sure. I would say ELA is probably the next curriculum that we tackle, and we're really working on administrator instructional leadership. So I'm meeting with principals regularly. Angie is meeting. We're doing inquiry cycles, finding a problem practice, and working on those together. So those are the things that we're doing. I'm sure there's a lot more that we can and will do, but just to give you a sense of where we're at.
And then before you go on, years ago, I want to say like 5 years ago, you and I had a discussion about how we had like 15 different initiatives, and they were all going, it was before we did any of the strategic planning, and how it just felt like there were too many initiatives. Now it feels like we're making a lot more progress, and it
We
feels
still have too much on our plate.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Has the strategic plan helped focus that energy, or is it still feeling overwhelming and?
I think we're in a better place than we were last year, but
Are we
the
in a
work
better
is
place than we were 5
never
years
done.
ago?
What did you say?
Are we in a better place than we were 5 years ago? I just remember like us having a really intense conversation before the strategic plan. was even on the radar.
I think all the work is aligned, there's still a lot of work, and people are still overwhelmed. But we're working on it, we're listening, I mean, we just, and we're trying to do the work also during the contracted workday, which is almost impossible. I mean, the job of a teacher just isn't, 7.5 hours a day, it's just not. But trying to honor that so that people have a balanced life, right?
Yeah.
They can go home and work with their own families and do things that they need to do for themselves. So we're trying to limit that work and those meetings. We've heard from the staff, we've made an alternate plan based on their feedback recently, which I think will help. I think, Leader in Me may feel like one more thing, but if you can see it as, so here's the strategic plan, here's the mechanism we're gonna use, the tool we're gonna use to reach that plan, I mean, that's what it does. And it's powerful if you embrace it, but it is something else to do, right?
Right.
So, yes and no,
Okay.
but, I don't know, the teachers can speak to it too.
Yeah.
They're working hard.
Yeah, if anything I would say is that this year, I think most of the teachers have realized that the administration we have now is willing to adjust. I think one of the big things that we talked about was, is it Leader or Me, or is it, well, there's something else, IDL. And it was like, if we need to, if there's, where do you want, because we have 3 new teachers in middle school, where's our money best spent? We've already spent it on Leader and Me, let's teach them Leader and Me. We can, pause back or pull back a little bit on all this. And I think that there's been a better communication with administration to be able to say, what else can we do? Is there a way where you guys can front load us with ideas where, again, it goes back to that, now if I create this, now I have to, walk through all the steps, and there's that additional planning that people don't realize. And so I think if anything, there's that piece of, yes, there's a lot there, but then being able to go back and say, well, that's really applying Leader and Me. What is our big rock? What should we start with? And then let's get rid of the other stuff and focus on this for now. And so I'm seeing that.
Still a lot.
Oh, yeah, I
Still
don't
big
doubt
job.
that. The progress we've made in the last, during the pandemic has been amazing now.
Yeah, I think people are committed to giving students more autonomy, agency, voice, and choice. That's important, we know that, and we're doing that. So, and it's not, they're not gonna have full autonomy every day, all day, but there are places where we can do that. And that makes a difference in the culture of the school and behavior and all sorts of things, so. So I just couldn't not share the middle level fall ball, which was last week, which was student planned. It was a passion period project for Windsor middle schoolers. So they did all the legwork, they planned it, they got out the invitations, we got a personal video invitation to go to the fall ball. They did all the decorating, the food, but it was wonderful. And there was, I was there. It was definitely a middle school dance. It was, awkward, and there was a little bit of dancing and some running and some crying and some breakups and some.
Oh, God. Oh, it was
Had it
middle
all.
school. It had it all.
That is middle school, so. But it was
Who's
fun.
in Oz
good.
and
It
Sword
was
Art
fun.
Flowers?
I was gonna ask if some kids from the other schools went.
A lot of her.
Good.
There were a lot of Hartland
A
kids.
lot of.
I saw you there, Mr. Butts.
Yep,
That's
Mr. Butts was
great,
there.
excellent. I
Um,
guess mine was too shy.
Well,
Next year.
Next-
Maybe
next
there'll be
year,
another one.
Yeah,
Next
there'll be
dance
another
of
one.
some
Maybe they can have a spring fling.
Yeah, it was
Fall
really,
ball and swag fling.
I thought it was really successful.
That would be cool.
You should have it here though.
They did challenge us to
Yeah, they
post
did
it.
challenge
You have
us.
to rotate
Corinne
around.
said,
Snowball.
we'll bring the
Yeah, we
food
had
and
a-
drinks, you need to
We
provide
had
the
a
place.
snowball
So-
last year, and it wasn't the greatest because
Oh
it was
no,
like
those are
7th
first
and
dance
8th grade,
after.
and it was like split in half. Like the gym was split in half. They
Oh,
had them
that's right.
separate, and like you got 30 minutes of dancing. And
That was
like
really
it was
weird.
just
And it was
really
during the
weird
school
because
days, it was like 45 minutes.
yeah, when it was during the school day, so everyone was just sitting in there, and it was kind of awkward. And then you switched and you went and you ate food.
And us being in second, it being our first dance, almost all the guys were like lined up against the wall.
Yeah.
That sounds like.
It was
Yeah,
cool.
hilarious.
Yeah, it was interesting because it was just like split up and you're like, well,
I think the kids should play.
So yeah, Maddie, I think you're plan this dance, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Buck and I will just, you tell us what you need.
okay.
I like it.
It's a project.
Yep.
It's a challenge.
Got it.
It was fun. The kids were, I mean, there were no huge behavior issues, all minor, you know. So, successful overall. Leader and me, we are, you know, moving forward. Barb, our coach, is still working with us. She meets with us regularly. She's coming on, she was here in November, she was here in October. And met with the coordinators and Lindsay and Alina, and then she'll be back in November. And I just wanted to shout out to the Hartland middle school community. We had 3 kids, 3 I believe, apply to be part of the Vermont State Youth Council. We don't know if they made the cut, but they applied, which is awesome, so hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yes. And the rest of this I just included on here. There's a couple points in the rest of our agenda that I wanted to just keep all of it. The one is Hartland School and then the budget update. And Nikki and I just thought it would be better as separate items, so there are slides in here for you, but not necessarily part of the administrative report.
Great. Excellent, thank you. Okay, so it's back to me.
Back to you.
I want to rearrange the room again.
Okay, I kind of like it like this.
I know.
This is
This
better.
feels
This is
a
so
little
much better.
adversarial though, I don't know.
It does, we could mix it,
That's
but
why I went
it's
over
so
there.
much better with the audio.
I know, I like, yeah.
It's not now, but next time.
We're not adversarial.
In 10 minutes, I know.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of funny too, because you guys were like all in shades of black. Sorry. It just creates a
We
dynamic.
don't have fun colors, I see this.
That was great, thank you so
I'm
much.
glad you came.
Great job, Abby.
Did you get your computer? Is your computer actually in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
And apparently we did not win Powerball.
Oh.
So hopefully someone else in this room did.
No.
Okay, that was not what I was expecting. Okay, so that is the administrative report. Clearly I haven't looked at this agenda in about a half hour. Okay, items for discussion. I heard there was a survey on the Hartland School name change.
It was, so I will re-present my screen. I could have just left it right up.
I know.
We need the
Alright,
drama.
but there was, we needed the transition.
There we go. Give us that nice transition.
Yeah.
So I did create a survey around the board's idea of changing it to Hartland School. So the next 2 slides are just some graphs as well as some comments from people that I thought, and I tried to get comments all over the board of pros, cons, anywhere in between of just what people,
I really enjoyed the comments.
The comments were
You like
cute.
it? I enjoyed them.
I like how like some kid or some, it appears to be, you know, a student wrote about all the things and then finally like at the bottom, like had this realization that it was like, yeah, actually we should do that. And I was like, yes, okay.
It was
Like,
good.
I just thought it was funny.
Yep, so I tried to keep the questions as simple and as clear as I could in creating it, so I said, what do you think the name of our school should be? Hartland Elementary School, and I just wanted to make sure it was, that's a stay is the same it is now option, or Hartland School.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean,
Interesting.
It's pretty evenly,
Yeah,
pretty
it's even.
evenly
Okay,
split,
so
yeah.
what grades and students did this get sent out to? Like, did kindergartners do this?
largely older kiddos. I mean, I could re-give it again to younger kiddos. It just gets a little trickier because it's like, if you're a kindergarten class,
Yeah.
it's only one, likely in a K class, they're doing it as one,
Yeah.
not necessarily always, it just gets a little trickier. So it was
Got it.
primarily older and staff. So it was,
Okay.
it was a combo of older students and staff. And then you are a student or staff, so percentage-wise, more students filled it out than staff.
Yeah.
And then I can leave up here some of the comments. There's a couple pages of comments, but you're right, Heather. Some of them I thought they were really good.
Yeah, I'm really curious about the one that is right up at the top on the right-hand side that says, there are more pressing needs and this would be an added expense.
I know.
What does that mean?
Was that
I-
a faculty?
It could,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
probably
know
I
who
can't
said
imagine, I
what.
can't imagine a student saying those words, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I intentionally didn't
Yep.
get email, like who said what responses,
Yeah.
so I don't know whether, I don't know who sent it, I don't know if it was the staff or student.
I didn't know what, I didn't understand what that comment meant,
Well,
so.
I mean, I think there probably would be some added expense, because we, you know, things like, I mean, the sign we talked about actually wouldn't cost too much, because we may be doing a new one anyway. But there's the big sign out by the road.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, the website would have to be gone through, you know, that would be some hours of Larry's time or somebody's time,
Hey,
not Larry's
just-
anymore.
I
someone
just want
else's,
people to
but-
notice, remember I said we should call it HEMS? Someone else thinks it should be called Hartland
I noticed
Elementary
that.
Middle
I
School
noticed
too.
that too, Heather.
HEMS.
I mean, that's
Hems
another
for life.
option, yes.
Yep.
There it is.
If you want, there is another page, you want me to go to the next page?
Yeah.
I like that I would feel weird to not call it Hartland Elementary School. So I guess it would be fine either way.
The last one is the last one's interesting to me too, this idea of like that we're mature, you know, that we're not in elementary
Stuck
school
in
for 9 years.
9 years.
You have to understand, those are comments that students truly say.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I get to act this way, I'm in an elementary school, I'm
Right,
like, but you're in 8th grade.
Oh, wow, so they really do use the elementary school. They throw it at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also like the people who stated that like the other schools in the district, nobody's called elementary school unless they're
Right.
truly an elementary school, and I feel like that's it's important to note.
They notice. I do have to tell you all, it's very funny that my middle schooler came home and said, it's ridiculous. They're asking us if we want to change the name of the school. Who would ever bring that, like, who would ever want to do that? I was like, is it you? Actually. It was so funny. She was like, why are people worried about this? Who would do that?
It was me.
So,
I
so
got a
one of those
similar-
votes, you know who one of those votes was.
I had a similar response.
Yeah, so I think that was, yes, that was it for that.
Well, then what do we do?
I feel like we need like, I mean, these meetings are open, and if the larger community, like people who are not in the school, felt really attached to it, like, how do we get the word out that like there is a possibility that we're in, like, that there's an interest to change the name?
I mean, I would think we have a meeting and advertise it, you know, put something on the listserv.
Yeah.
And ask for community input,
And ask for community input, maybe have two meetings even,
Yeah.
just on that.
where there's a time that people can come and talk about it and.
Yeah.
I think, we almost have to either advertise a lot or present it, during our annual meeting.
Right.
Like in
And
March.
stir the pot during the annual meeting so
Yeah.
that people are engaged.
Yeah,
Because
no,
that's
yeah, it
the-
could even be in the,
That's the only time we get 10 people to a meeting.
right, exactly. And it could even be in Lindsay's, you know, report to the community, so it would be in the town report. Cause that, you know, I think the more opinions, the better. I mean, I
Yeah.
certainly, I don't feel strongly enough about it that I wanna push
No,
it
we
through
don't
in
need to push it.
silence, like, I
Yeah,
think-
no.
I think we should, you know, really see what the community thinks, you know?
Is there, would the moderator of the town meeting entertain a announcement?
I'm sure, yeah.
Or, I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot more
Yeah.
people at the town meeting.
I mean, we do an update of what's going on at the school, and it could just be part of the
That could be part
update
of that, yeah.
of what's going on in the schools.
'Cause-
On the town meeting day, when everybody's at Damon Hall, is there a little,
Oh, no, in the, our,
in ours?
yeah,
Yeah,
in
our
our
school district
report.
meeting.
In the school
Yeah,
district meeting, at the
something-
town meeting, there's way more.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
there's way more people, I don't
I don't know if, yeah, I mean, I'm happy to ask, or if it's awkward, you can ask him if he's comfortable with that, I don't, you know.
I think,
They may not take announcements from the.
They may not,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
no, I think that our better bet would be to do it at our meeting, but we get enough people that are spread out in the community at our meeting that we could stir the pot. I
Right.
mean, word would get out there, and then,
And will we have a remote option for that meeting?
yeah, exactly.
I don't know, I'm not there yet. Apparently my report's due on December
Okay.
5th. The email just went out today from the town to have our
Oh.
reports in.
I've got the schedule sent that it says January 1st, so they want it by December 5th?
Oh, it's not.
Okay.
It never has.
Okay.
Fire chief already
Never
said it's in, but.
Lindsay, in one of your emails that you send out to parents and such, would we be able to, because like I feel like parents should know that this is happening, like, could we get a survey for them, just, you know, almost the same thing as what you sent out to the kids, and just get some parents' feedback on this, because, yeah, just put it.
I can put a
put it in
link to the
newsletter.
survey in the Wildcat Weekly, so then someone can just click on it
Click
and it will
it.
pull up
Oh,
the
yeah.
survey.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
Can you just add
Yeah,
parents?
already in, yeah.
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 I would also, I don't wanna just send it out to parents, though.
No,
'cause
I don't
that
either, but I feel like
minimizes
this is the
alumni.
next,
Right.
this is the next
Could I have
thing.
Linda, maybe, or Linda or myself put it on the listserv as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the listserv would be,
Okay.
because it is, I mean, those are the people who I imagine might have a problem with it, you know,
Right.
is people who graduated from Hartland Elementary School.
Exactly,
or
that's why I
very-
don't wanna just send it.
But will you just put it in your weekly as parents too? Okay,
Absolutely, we can do both.
got it. And it can be
Yeah.
like parent, community member.
Do you want it similar questions of if I go back,
Yeah.
Yeah,
what do you
Yeah.
think the name of our school should be, and word it in a similar way?
yeah.
And then I probably wouldn't necessarily need the you are or.
I think you could do parent.
Yeah, I would
Parent,
do-
parent or community member?
Yep.
Or
And
both?
alumni.
Or both, alumni?
Yeah, I would have 5, well, we
Parent.
have student staff, and we'll keep those aggregated in,
Yep.
and then parent,
I mean,
community alumni.
community members too, even if you're not an alum, you might have thought, you know, you might have thoughts about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I could probably do it where if you're a community member
Right.
who's also an alumni, you could probably click both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All that apply.
Yeah.
But we may
Yeah.
need a sentence as to why we're doing this, like why we're interested. Because I suspect that
People are
some
just-
of our community members may not
Yeah.
even know that 8th grade is not elementary, I don't know.
What do we consider middle school? Do we consider it 7th or do we consider it 6th?
Six.
That's what we were
6th to
talking
8th.
about today, I don't really like that, we in band, we were talking about this, and I'm not really sure. Cause I feel like we refer to 7th and 8th grade as like its own pod, and 6th grade is kind of more separate from that. So, some people consider 7th and 8th middle school because they're more together, but 6th grade, like we share, I think we have similar schedules kind of to 6th grade, like we have lunch at the same time, we have advisories.
Catherine, I think the reason that you guys are confused is because it's changed like every year for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
We're
It's
good
back and
now, it
forth.
is 6 through 8, but all the systems haven't changed to catch up to that change.
Well, and the goal is for 6th grade to integrate more in 7, 8 in the second half of the year when they're more developmentally ready to do that. So there'll be more.
So Catherine, part of that is the COVID really set back students developmentally. So most schools, if there were no COVID, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade would be fine. But again, if we're looking at the developmental age of the 6th graders, they're a few years behind. So then looking at the gap of where we're at, it makes it a challenge to say, are they ready? So we decided to wait until that second half of the year to allow them to get used to just being a 6th grader. And then say, all right, what else can we do with 7th and 8th? That kind of will help you to see the understanding as to why you're not with us, because if you were to go to Windsor, they're all in the same area, they're all intermingling, the lunch is together, but again, there's that piece of also the building too, and how we're set up. Good question.
So Nikki, the language around the why we're interested in doing this, do you want me to run that by you before I send it out?
No, I
No,
trust you.
that's fine, okay. That works for me.
I
Okay.
think you know more than I do.
Yep, we
so.
can do that, okay. So then that's it for.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay. So we'll just keep slowly keeping that on the agenda. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both for engaging. Catherine, thank you for being outspoken and letting us know what your thoughts are. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell Maddie the same thing.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, these comments are great. I love,
Yeah, no, it's
tough.
fun to hear.
They were all over, which I liked, because I was like, oh, you had some that have very strong opinions in one direction or the other.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
think so.
Was the next item the
Yes.
budget update?
Yes.
So you want me to keep going?
Yep.
I can do that, okay.
We can keep going.
So, some things, it's not necessarily an exhausted list, I tried to do like, some things we wanted to keep and some things we wanted to add in, which looks like a long list, but this year we're bringing back winter activities, which I know, was really intentional on the board's, direction, so Linda and I were working on winter activities, which is gonna be fantastic, we're really,
Is
really
this
excited
like
about
half
it.
days where the kids get to go again?
Yes.
Oh, thank
Yes,
goodness.
it's gonna be great, we're excited, and it actually ended up working out, so John Leonard at the rec let us know that it was actually cheaper for the skiing program end of it, it was cheaper to buy passes for all kids for the season than it was to buy multiple day passes for each
Oh,
of the days.
wow.
It's
$99.
Exactly, so
Yeah, that's
we
great.
did the pass instead, because it was cheaper,
Yeah.
and they get to
And then
use
they
it,
have
like,
it for the whole
win-win.
season.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
it's great.
So, do parents have to buy the passes still?
No.
So,
I think, right? Is that how it happened in years past, I think, yes.
I mean,
Oh,
yes,
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 the
this
money-
year.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
this is
think
what we
so.
passed
So-
last year,
so-
a season pass, that's amazing.
Not your pass, Heather.
but,
So the kids.
so
Yeah.
wait, so I should not buy Ruby and Russell a ski pass this year?
Not to S6.
No, okay, Saskatoon 6, not doing it, okay. You
Yep.
just saved us
But you-
$200.
Hey, there we go.
But you should get that out as soon as possible, because I
Yes.
just know the deadline for Suicide Six, like Chris was calling, was like today,
Yes.
to buy passes
Oh, it was.
affiliated with adults.
Oh,
Because the
God,
adults
okay.
get a discount
Yeah,
if you buy a kid's pass.
Oh, they did not let us know that.
And so,
Okay.
I know, and I think Chris
Okay.
made a call to figure out of like, if my kid's like, do I still get a discount? What do I do? Like, so there was some sort
Yeah.
of connection and
Alright.
deadline,
Interesting,
like,
there was some
happening.
turnover in S6, which made it a little bit tricky for John to get
Yeah.
some answers, so what
yeah,
I'll do
I
is,
still want my pass with my kids discount.
You want it all.
yeah, cause,
it
okay,
would
I'll
be
have to talk to
cheaper.
Linda on that one, because the tricky part, like Linda was going to send out to families soon, but I know it hasn't been sent out
It
yet.
might be
Around like
cheaper.
choosing what activity you wanted, so families haven't done that yet.
Right.
So maybe there's a way that Linda, John, or I could reach out to S6 and just say, hey, we haven't done this part on our end because we're trying to give families enough time to see what the options are, instead of just throwing at them like, here, if you think you're gonna ski, don't
Yeah, you
sign
wanna
up for
buy
this
extra
pa-"
passes
So,
if kids don't
yeah,
wanna do it.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out what makes the
But it
most
might be
sense.
cheaper.
Right, that's a good point.
Right, it may be cheaper.
It may be cheaper for me to buy the $99 pass and then get the $350 for adults than pay the whatever it is for an adult season pass.
Yeah, well, in that case, we'll save a little money, because there'll be
Yeah,
some
that-
kids who already
yeah.
have it.
Well, and that was kind of the
The
intent
parents
last
can
year too,
choose last
is
year.
that if parents ended up buying their own tickets, then
Yeah,
that would be fine.
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Currently we have a halftime We Are Hope coach, so that's something we would like to keep in place as it is. Some things to consider adding in, if you would be okay with me walking through Ed with a budget on these. I would love to look into, Larry gave me a quote from last year in Windsor, so it's relatively the same here, to have an instructional audio system in the grades 5 through 8 classroom.
What is that? Like,
Yeah,
what's
so
an
it's like-
instructional audio
It's,
system?
it depends on the brand, but it could be a teacher wearing something around their neck that projects for the whole room. So a person, even though a room this size, there's a large sound decrease from Nikki and I away, and so it allows for, there's a video, the next slide or two, that talks a little bit about the brand specifically that Larry gave me the quote for, but it could be really beneficial for a large number of our learners. And currently we have some that are in place, and the younger, we have a phonak system that Brittany a number of years ago had gotten a grant through the Burn Foundation to get. Those are about 5 or 6 years old now, so are on their later stages. So my hope would be potentially if we could do this in the 5 through 8 classrooms next year, to then target another group of classrooms the following year and just stagger installing that into the classrooms.
Is that for kids with hearing loss, or is it kind of does it help with attention?
It helps with
It helps
Or
with
is it-
attention, it helps with all of the things. It can help
Okay.
if there is any sort of hearing loss. It can help for a kiddo that has no diagnosis of anything at all. It could help for attention. It has many, many factors that are really positive for students.
Interesting.
I used one as a teacher
Yeah.
at Ottaquechee. It's mind-blowing, the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
I used
Interesting.
them in Four Winds.
Yeah.
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 And being in the classroom when a teacher's using it, like, some of you may know, I have some attention issues sometimes, and like, it's like,
It's so interesting.
it's
Wow.
really, because it makes it sound like the teacher is right
Right
there.
Yeah.
So you really can't not pay attention.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yep. The 17-acre wood, I wanted to just include that one in there, and whether or not, does it make sense to put it within our budget, or potentially use it, Christine and I talked about potentially using it from capital reserves.
Yeah.
Mason at the rec was strongly suggesting that we replace the soccer goals that are down there, that from what he described, they're quite old and do need replacing. And so that's about $7,200 to replace both of those goals. The pre-bond work from Black River Designs quote that they gave was $14,250. I figured I'd put this in here because I know we talked about it towards the spring, because I don't think, Christine, was this in the FY?
I think it was in there, but not without the increase.
Right.
In the
Okay.
salary.
So the 4,200 was this year. Now, I don't know what that looks like for,
Did you talk to the town?
so talk to Dave. Okay.
Find out what the increase
Okay,
is.
I can talk to Dave and find out what that increase, the 4,200 was for this current year.
Yeah.
The possibility of replacing the floors out here, you know, if we're in a, you know, it'd be great to have, but we also understand that,
Yeah.
you know, we may not necessarily get everything. And in talking with Jamie, she would love the opportunity to have a separate line for instrument maintenance. And her estimate for me at this point was about $2,800 that she would need.
Does that
Yes,
include the number that you gave us before, was 2,500 to,
That's just in this.
that would be in this budget
Yes.
before this one kicks in, okay.
Correct, yep.
And with the hopeful improvements or construction we're gonna potentially do, redoing the front here, I mean, how many years out are we talking about if everything goes as planned? I was just thinking if we're gonna redo the
Yeah,
front,
that's what I was
if we're gonna like,
Might as well
got this
wait.
whole thing in 3
Yep.
years, then
Yep.
is it,
Then it might make sense when we're thinking about the.
I don't know what the timing is.
I think, what did, was
I
it?
think it's due, but maybe we could live with it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's due.
I mean, if the funding came up, if funding came through in a year from March, you know, I'm guessing it's 3 years off before it's completed, so,
Yeah, so maybe that, yeah.
I don't, you know.
Is it taking the carpet out?
Yeah, taking the carpet out and putting the O3 and this OSP,
Those tiling things.
the tiling things that are in that other hallway
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
there. So it's a lot less maintenance on the maintenance staff and cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And then I just wanted to include, this was the brand Lightspeed 975. Heart of Windsor, I believe, last year installed some of these in their classroom. They, from what Katie, Ahern, and Larry described to me, they're doing a similar phased approach with taking some rooms at a time.
Audio solutions that enable students to clearly hear their teacher and receive the best instruction at the right time. In the classroom, hearing is the primary channel for learning, but barriers exist that prevent students from clearly hearing and understanding their teachers, including background noises, distance, masks, and teacher vocal strength. With a Lightspeed system, teachers wear a simple, lightweight wireless microphone that evenly distributes their voice with excellent clarity. And studies have shown that adding this technology ultimately improves instructional effectiveness and student performance. Lightspeed's 975 is a versatile, powerful instructional audio system that addresses these fundamental barriers to hearing, delivering high-quality audio for every student while seamlessly integrating with all your classroom technologies. The solution shines in its versatility, operating well in every type of instructional space across your campus. The 975 is available with multiple speaker options to fit various room sizes and shapes and ceiling types. And additional speakers can be added to cover larger areas such as media centers. The 975 provides a large wireless range with no audio dropout in any school space. And point-to-pair functionality allows teachers to quickly and easily move their microphone to different classrooms. Multiple audio inputs allows the 975 to integrate with laptops, mobile devices, and interactive displays and panels to ensure all multimedia audio is heard throughout the classroom. And audio outputs provide integration with assistive listening devices and with computers for distance learning and recording applications. Finally, Lightspeed's 975 solution now interfaces with a wide variety of life safety solutions, ensuring building-wide communications are never missed and triggering alert notifications directly from the teacher's microphone when required. The Lightspeed 975, built for the demands of today's and tomorrow's active learning spaces. To learn more, contact Lightspeed today.
Do we have any teachers who, in this building, who have used this before?
We're not this building.
Yeah. You're not
We,
involved.
maybe not this specific brand, but I think Windsor, I could figure out, I bet if I asked Katie what Windsor classrooms, I believe there were some that had installed them this summer. We could reach out to the Windsor teachers.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like what the teacher perspective on this is, and if they're noticing a difference, and if it's something that some teachers here can go over and see what it looks like before,
So we do
invest.
have teachers using systems like this here.
We do.
They're similar,
It's
Phonak.
called Phonak,
Yeah.
yeah, different brand.
Yeah. We could probably even go check it out. We
Yeah,
could
we
field
could.
trip to a classroom,
Yep.
depending on,
It's just
I
right
think
down
that
here in the
Lightspeed, I
room.
think, is wired in,
yeah, that sounds like
and
it
Phonak
is.
is like a speaker that
Right.
stands
And-
yeah.
From what I'm hearing on this, you can also set it up through your computer, which means that, there'd be more access to things that you can do. So,
Yeah, because I've remembered the times that I've been in classrooms, hearing the computer is difficult. Yeah, have you not used one?
We are not that technologically advanced in Woodstock.
I wonder if the elementary teachers
Yeah.
have them.
They do here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Woodstock.
Yeah. Yeah, because some teachers, back in the days when we were in the building doing Four Winds. What, yeah. The teacher would be like, oh, wait, here, use this, it's much better, and so they clearly like it. And there are a lot of teachers that use them.
There are, yeah.
When one breaks, people are looking
Yeah. And we're kind of at that point
for
now where
replacement, yeah.
things are breaking here and there, and it's gotten kind of old enough to the point where it's getting a little tricky. And the ones in our primary grades right now are in better condition, and there's more of them down there, so that's why I was strategic on grades 5 through 8. I think that's the
And
end.
there's no potential for unfortunate incidences of using the restroom and forgetting your microphone on or things of that nature, there's ways that those things
There's,
will.
I can
I
speak to
know,
the
I'm just
system,
is there
I don't
ways to
know.
block it?
Right.
I would be that
I could
conversation
speak to
in the
the
teachers.
Lounge,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, inappropriate conversation
I could
somewhere.
speak to the system I had before, which was not this system, so I don't know, but there was a range in which it was stopped.
It stopped.
Where you
Okay,
just wouldn't
that's
pick it
good.
up anymore, but I can't say that for that specific brand, I'd have to look.
I always forget to take my walkie off. I know, I would be that person.
When
very
you use
easily.
it though, you hear yourself much clearer as well, so you don't forget.
Around the corner in the restroom.
That I am not sure. There's a wonderful
experiment.
I don't know, I
graphic
can-
novel called El Defo. I don't know if
Yes,
you've
I've
seen it.
read that.
There's a scene in, it's
It's
written
pictures.
and illustrated by a woman with hearing loss, and it's about her childhood, and there's a hilarious scene in this graphic novel where her teacher uses a device because she's deaf, and the
But she's the
teacher
only one who can hear
goes
Goes to the bathroom.
and the entire school hears the teacher in the bathroom, and everyone's laughing, and she doesn't understand why, because she can't hear it, and her friends have to explain it to her.
Oh, that's funny.
It's very funny.
It's El Defo?
It's called El Defo. It's such a great book. It's by C.C. Bell. Check it out.
They have it at the library.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Sorry.
But hopefully that one.
Yeah.
It's just
And that's the end of the
I'm that
budget,
awkward person.
end of it.
Okay, so, I had two thoughts. Both I'm just thinking of the, capital reserve fund.
and the budget, and like right now, I wanna run all the numbers through the budget. But clearly you guys should weigh in, but I wanna see how they fit in the budget. But then, I was thinking about particularly the soccer goals and the 17-acre woods. Both of those are community, they don't just benefit the school, and that feels like the capital reserve. I mean, we do use the capital reserve to benefit the school, but like, that just feels like they're more community things. And that maybe the capital reserve is a better.
7-acre wood, yes, no, I mean,
It's
it's
yes
town
and no.
property, but
Right.
it's not like,
It doesn't, but, right,
Right.
But-
no one goes wandering out there.
Only
unless
students
it's
will be
school.
using it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, it feels like a capital expense.
It does.
Rather than a sort of.
And the goals,
Running.
like, I would suspect most of the town is like, why is the school buying goals? They're not on the school property,
Yeah.
so,
It's our middle school program,
yeah.
that's why.
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll just see where they end up.
yeah, I mean, I would agree with being open to that, especially if the numbers is tight.
And to follow up, last year, we did all the sinks, because we were gonna phase the sinks,
Oh, we did them all.
but we decided to do them all.
Okay.
Okay, so awesome. So that's not hanging over our heads this year. And so we don't,
We did 8 out of 8, right? We talked about 4 out of 8, but we,
yeah,
I'm sure we did all 8, I can double check. to
I
make
think
sure.
we decided that once we were doing it out of the capital reserve, we should just do it
We
one
should just
time.
have it right, I'm sure we did
Yeah.
that too, you're right.
And there's no other Jim Taft list. Check off Jim Taft's
No, he's
list.
working on the 5-year plan with Larry
Yeah.
at Hartland, but we haven't gotten that back yet.
Okay. We've made a lot of good changes.
The kitchen's in good shape with the new.
Is there any other capital like equipment that are needed for like kitchens?
In the kitchen? Not that Craig has mentioned.
I don't think so.
Mr. Samuel wants new rugs somewhere. I forget where he told me he wanted new rugs. But he was like, I just need new rugs. So anyways, there's somewhere where he wants new rugs.
Maybe right out here.
Could be
We
right
should-
there. I can
We
see
should
that.
ask Mr. Samuel where he wants new rugs.
There's probably
Get that man
like
whatever he wants, as long as he keeps driving.
necessary coffee spills for me on those rugs. And I also wonder, I mean, this isn't for right now, but I also wonder if there's a cheaper solution to, this is a Jim Taft question, but is there a cheaper solution to the flooring? Understanding that we may want to get rid of it. Like, if, understand that we may make changes in 3 years, it might not be worth investing 16,000 just to rip it up.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't pass, then we invest 16,000 3 years from now or something, you know, like.
And maybe that, I'm not sure, but I could ask Jen, maybe that cheaper option is just a different carpet,
Yeah,
potentially, that
yeah,
would be a cheaper
because
option.
I mean, it is looking really
It's
bad,
looking
but,
worn, for sure.
yeah, it definitely looks dumpy, but I'd hate to like get something nice.
Yeah, and I
It's
do
really
feel like,
dumpy.
as we're presenting the
Stayed
I know.
construction to the community, you know, making a point about being frugal and not replacing the carpet and then ripping it up is probably to our benefit.
Yeah, I agree.
And we should also consider that, like, if the name change happens with all this, isn't that like signage and things might get in there too? So,
It's true.
though we're cutting some letters out, I feel like it should be cheaper.
Can we just point that out?
Yeah, just white it out. Have the students
Cross
maybe
it out.
redesign the logo of Hartland Elementary, or Hartland School.
It's a great idea, because a lot of students don't like the 3 bells.
Yeah,
Really?
I mean, the 3 bells is like,
They
it's
may
part
not-
of
yeah.
school.
They may not understand
They
that
don't
it's-
understand that,
Yeah.
I think we need to ring the bells more
It's the
often.
disconnect.
Yeah, and talk about the history of where they came from.
I have no
and-
idea where they go.
Oh, it was from all the little schoolhouses around town when they consolidated. They brought the bells from the other buildings.
Oh, that's so cute.
And it all came together,
Someone needs
right?
to do
It's a
some
great
history
story.
on the 3 bells.
Where's that newspaper, right?
That was a great topic. Yeah, they should do a
Where's the
story
article?
about
Yeah.
bells.
And then
Why
we
the
should
bells?
ring them, because we should just ring them
to
Yeah.
ring them.
On
It's so
Friday
cool.
afternoon, ring 'em.
Bring them the last day of school.
Yeah,
No,
I know.
every
Yeah,
Friday.
We should do it other,
We could
yeah,
do
other
it every
times,
Friday.
right?
Do you know how to do it?
Yeah.
John Samuel showed me.
You know, you should have like one student a week who gets
Yes,
to like
two.
literally
Ooh.
ring the bell.
Oh, wouldn't that
Like
be
that's like,
fun?
you're the bell
Friday?
ringer of the week.
Yep.
Every Friday
Like that.
to like ring in the weekend. I
Yep.
love
I
that.
like that.
Bell ringer of the week.
They would love it.
I almost feel like we should do like a lottery too, like maybe not even a reward, because then like.
There's a lot of kids that.
So many
Yes.
kids on
Yeah.
there.
But no, like, that, whatever, but as long as the kid's
Yeah.
ringing it a week.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how excited they are? I didn't get you. to
I'm
ring the
always,
bell."
I'm just glad this conversation happened, because I always thought they needed to be used more, so.
Ring
They
the
work.
bell. Okay,
Yeah.
bell ringer of the week.
Yeah.
Select a kid.
Bell ringer of the week.
There you go, lottery. Totally like pick a name out of the hat.
No, and I do love the idea of talking to the kids about, so, you know, depending on where you live, you would have gone to,
Yeah.
you know, my kids would have gone to the Grout School.
This is a
and,
good
we
history
would have gone
lesson.
to one there,
This is a
right?
good
Your
history
kids
lesson
would
of
have gone to the-
like place and space.
Right?
Yes,
And
like kids owning their space. Yes,
each
Elena.
of the, and when did those schools
Here it
close
comes.
down,
over here,
you
hold
know?
on.
Okay, well, we got the.
Could they find community members that actually went to the schools?
Be
Yes.
a great leadership.
When did they
Uh,
close?
Now
They
your
closed
outfit
in
colors
the
are showing.
late 60s.
So there's some.
Absolutely, yeah, there are people around.
When we
Yeah.
think, we gotta find some alumni of those other those schools that
They can
consolidate.
come and talk about what it
John
was
Samuel
like.
will know, I'm sure between.
John
him
Samuel
and-
knows everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, this is place-based education.
I know,
That's-
exactly.
come on.
Yeah.
Wait, exactly, like this
Started with
is
the bells.
where you came from, where you live.
Okay,
You
Elena,
know,
you
what?
should raise your
Hey,
hand. and we
Alina,
all
what would
just-
you like? Sorry, we interrupted you.
No, no. Where do I find the information on the history?
David Lamb and,
Other,
You have to go to a person.
No, really.
other than
David,
gotta
so,
Google it.
there's a
Hall.
Heartland Historical Society.
Historical
Yes.
Society.
And,
That would be the
Students
definitive
interview
source.
them.
They did, last year, sixth graders did a really cool project, I'm sure Beth and McKenna would have it. And two of the people they actually interviewed as primary sources, their sources were
Yeah.
John Samuel and David Lamb.
I feel like it would be a great project, and then you get a bell ringer.
So the public library, Elena, has a whole upstairs, the second floor of the public library is the Vermont room. And there are all these books up there on Vermont history and Hartland history. And there's a book called, what's it called? It's like, something the river, but it's like a history of Heartland. And it has chapters on all the
And we have a
different
pretty
schools.
active historical society.
And we have an
Maybe
active
on
historical,
this.
yeah. Who
I hear field
who
trip.
could help out, or someone could come and, I'm sure someone would be willing to come and talk, you know.
On a side note, there's the Hartland Nature Club as well, that
Yep.
people, that's like a whole field trip in itself, that's amazing. It's behind Damon Hall, and they open it like once a year on 4th of July. And it's this like amazing natural history collection of like all these different geological
Fossils
specimens.
and- oh, it's so cool.
Fossils,
You have to check that.
random
Oh,
stuffed
they're so
animals.
busy on 4th of July.
It is like, it is so, and like to get kids in there and actually see it, it's pretty.
What?
I mean, that's my game. but-
That would be.
All these little drawers to like, with all these little,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing.
Can we just look at Alina's face
I know,
for a second?
I'll lead the field trip, I'll go. Well, and one of the women that was very involved in it actually just recently passed away, so it would be
Yes,
actually
that's
something
right.
very, tragic.
And they can walk there, which is really
Spastic
cool, yeah.
moment.
Sorry.
We are having a very spastic moment of
It's not even that late.
Did
It's
you
not even
catch, did you
9.
catch all of that? Did someone write all that down? Okay, good.
I'll lead the field trip.
Okay, so
Colleen, we
ringing
miss
of the
you.
bells, history of the bells, apparently field trip to the library and the historical society, and something about.
Nature club.
Nature club. You're on it. Okay, good. Next.
And a bell ringer.
And a bell
And
ringer.
bell ringer.
A weekly
Alright.
bell ringer on Friday.
I love that idea.
Yeah, school ends at 2:15.
I was gonna say,
Somebody at 2:15.
It's only
literally
Tuesday,
did.
it could happen by Friday.
What?
2:25.
2:25, or 2:25,
I
sorry.
was writing that down, I'm just saying. They said two.
Sorry, I meant to, no, this parent wants it back to 2:45.
We're down.
2:45. I get 2:50, they keep increasing our day, it's 2:55 at this point, I'm like, what's
3 o'clock, baby.
Okay. It's been a long month.
It's not even 8 o'clock.
It's
not even 8 o'clock on the first.
Isn't this the first day?
It's I'm
almost
still
there.
recovering.
Items for action. Let's
I
do
don't
it.
think, you have to just pass the minutes, don't you?
Yeah,
We
we
need
need
to pass the minutes, because we're all
That's the
here.
only thing.
Okay, so we're gonna circle back to the minutes. And I'm gonna cross that off with the next agenda. All those in favor of approving the minutes of October 4th, 2022, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? What? What was
It just
that?
sounded like you sneezed in there.
Did you say yes, Colleen?
Yes.
Are you still laughing at our previous conversation?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that would be, and I'll say yes, that would be 4 yeses, any nays? No, and 1 abstention.
Because we couldn't quite get cell phone reception. And,
Um,
I tried.
I know.
To the person taking the notes, the bell conversation can be less than a sentence.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need our spastic, our excitement going on there. Just got
Okay.
really excited.
Probably should have said that before the bells conversation, but who knew where that was going? Okay.
I'm just excited that I learned something.
I know, me too. I didn't even know they were working bells. I just thought they were bells.
Wait,
You've never been here on the last day of
the last day of school?
When the buses do a
fun
little loop.
No.
The Wildcats on the roof.
I'm a teacher,
You know,
you
I had my
know.
last day
I'm
of
a
school.
teacher, like I'm over there trying to keep my kids from.
If you can ever do it,
You gotta come.
it is so, you'll cry, like you always cry.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do it
It's-
on,
everybody
I'll do it on my
Makes you
children's
cry.
8th grade.
No, because the kid won't be here in 8th grade.
Yeah, because
They've
they
already
graduate
graduated.
before, and
They
they don't
don't,
come
because
till
they're
graduate
not here on the
before.
last day of school, they're 8th grade year. 7th grade.
7th grade.
7th grade.
Okay, can someone remind me of this, please?
Or you
Yes.
could make Ruby come to school as an 8th grader.
Just so you can cry.
She makes me cry in other ways.
That's really.
Continue.
Okay. Okay, so setting the next agenda.
Is that gonna be for December?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
That feels weird.
This whole year.
Oh, it's already flying
Actually,
by.
speaking back to items for action, we don't need to vote on the music request for 2,500. Cause it's right, cause we're trying to,
It's in the budget already.
yeah, okay, it's in the budget already, great. Okay, we just were seeing it, okay, cool. So, setting the next agenda,
It'll be a big budget.
yeah, I was gonna say,
Is it gonna
yeah, I
be
think that's our big budget agenda.
Yep.
I have school name on there, just, we wanna hear the report on the bills. Cause that might feed into
Expect
it.
some bell action by then.
So you'll hear some bells ringing on a Friday by then. School name, bell report.
Bell
report.
Yes.
I love that they're all wrapped together.
Well, actually, so here's where my head goes, and like, I don't know any of the history of it, but were they all elementary schools that fed in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, KA, they were all KA.
They were all K-8, so.
And were they called elementary schools back then?
No, they were not.
There were
So,
one-room
for example, the
schoolhouses.
one on my road, the one at the end of my road, right, was the Grout School. And, the Jennyville School was the one
Where-
in Jennyville.
Where is that? Where was it?
The North Hartland School is what the one in North Hartland, so that's interesting, that's a
What's the
really,
one that-
yeah,
That's
that's a
what,
good
that's
question.
where, that's why
The
they
one
fit
that did?
together.
The Lambert's on Draper.
School name slash.
Right,
There
what
were
was that
4
one called? I don't know what that one was called.
Three bells,
Draper
3
School,
schools.
I don't
Why
know.
did I think there was 4 schools? I remember John saying there was only 3 schools, not 4?
There were more, I think there were like
Probably
6
one.
or
Yeah,
7
maybe only
actually.
3 bells.
Or
So maybe
not
there,
three.
I'll
They-
have to ask John Samuel, because he said
They
something about a bell that
consolidated
broke on the
down
way.
to 3 at some point.
I think you're right.
And then I
Some
think
bell
those
broke, I
3
think it was supposed to be
consolidate, so it like,
4. One broke.
And there's a broken
Yeah.
bell.
Those are the original ones.
it was
Yeah.
North Heartland, 3 corners and 4 corners at one point, so I think that's where the bells came from.
Somebody from the Historical Society is watching this, they're gonna like
Yeah.
so upset with us. I'm like, this is gotta go.
It's gotta be a newspaper.
I know. Newspaper.
Yeah, there's a bell, at the old sign shop, on Route 12. Like as part of their front
Oh.
garden.
and that's one of the Hartland historical bells as
The
well.
rec center, of course, was the school, so.
Is there a bell up
Is
there?
there a bell there? I don't know. Probably that one came to the school.
I didn't If know it the rest
functions.
fascinating.
Yeah.
If it functions, it should probably also be rung every
Yes.
It was like at a coordinated time
Friday.
across.
Coordinated.
225.
25, bring your bells.
225, all the bells ring in town.
There's so much, and there's so much cool history, like, so our house used to be right on the road. And when they consolidated the schools, they had to completely rebuild the road so that a school bus could come by, and so they like completely like tore up the whole thing and moved, and like the road now is much farther away from our house, which is better, but it was all because they needed to be able to get a school bus, because before that, all the kids just walked. And in a lot of the other parts of town, there were bridges that were built, so they could get the school bus over the road.
school bus still can't go down our
And
road.
the school bus still can't go down some roads, but yeah, no, the kids will be, I think the kids would be fascinated to learn about it.
So that is definitely school name bell update.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay,
Let's see, you got some homework.
okay.
I think that's under the asterisk in your job description, so other
No,
duties.
Other duties as assigned, yes.
Historical,
No, like, that we really don't want, like,
Well,
this
we
is
wanna
not
know.
extra work,
This
it's
is not
curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can get it run on a Friday afternoon, why not?
That'd be fun. And then we can cry every Friday. But like desensitize us to the last day of school.
It's Pavlovian.
Well, maybe it's like one ring as opposed to like last day of school, which is like 10 rings.
Oh, it's more than 10.
Oh, it's a lot of
It
rings.
keeps going.
Yeah, it keeps going.
Okay,
It's good.
so I've got the school name budget. Is there anything else that's? I think the budget
Maybe winter
probably
activities.
Oh, yeah, we
update,
probably
or
need
maybe
winter activities.
Yep.
Something on that.
Yeah,
It'll be
thank you.
December, it may not be much of an update, I mean, but I can give you what we've got, because at that point Linda
They
will
start
probably have January, yeah,
And
so
then-
Linda,
Six weeks.
yeah, Linda and I will have sent out the who's going to do what, her goal is to do that right about now, to have it in by after Thanksgiving, just if there's any other hunting down of
Yeah.
information that we need, it gives us some time.
I'm really excited. I can't wait to.
I'm glad to bring this back.
Yes. I'm glad it's back, and I'm glad it's back in a new form.
Are we doing transportation back here?
Yes.
I know. Okay, I think that that's probably a good agenda. So we are now at, taking a motion for executive session. For a short employee.
Be short, yeah. We go into executive session.
Okay, that was moved by Sarah, seconded by Beth.
Hi, Michael.
Michael, thank you, it was really fun to have you part of my conversation tonight.
Yeah.